What is up, everybody? It's Ethan here. It is about 6:30 in the morning right now, and some of you may already recognize where I am. I am about a half a mile away from the 4 Mile Creek trailhead. The 4 Mile Creek trailhead is right up there, and right up there is one of the most popular 14ers in the state of Colorado, Mount Sherman. I am, however, not doing Mount Sherman today. Mount Sherman was actually my first 14er that I did right about 2 years ago, almost to the day. And instead of doing that, I am, like I said, about a half a mile away from the trailhead for Sherman, and I'm about to head up this four-wheel drive road, and that will eventually take me to the summit of Horseshoe Mountain. A 13er, a tall 13er. It's the 19th tallest 13er in the state at about 13,898 feet, so literally just 102 feet away from being a 14er. A beautiful and unique looking mountain here in the Mosquito Range, and that will be the first 13er of the day. After that, I will also be doing Peerless Mountain, which is 13,348 feet. It's just on the other side of the saddle from Horseshoe, so an easy little add-on. And I'll see how I feel when I finish Horseshoe, but I'm almost positive I'm going to do both of them today. It's going to be an awesome hike. I can't wait to show you guys and bring you guys along with me for another 13er adventure here in Colorado. Beautiful sunrise this morning. I'm almost a mile in, and you can see still following the this old mining road, and I am breaking tree line right now. Enjoying this quiet, beautiful morning up here. If I was on the Mount Sherman Trail right now, there would be a ton of people. It's a Saturday morning. Lots of people. Saw lots of cars heading up towards Mount Sherman. Up here, so far I've seen one other person. The benefits of hiking 13ers. Alright, there is my first destination. That is Horseshoe Mountain. As you can see, it's named Horseshoe Mountain for a reason. And that very unique and beautiful looking cirque there, I've seen pictures of it during winter and it looks amazing. This actually wouldn't be a bad hike to do in the wintertime because of how long you follow this four-wheel drive, like this old mining road. But the only issue is that they only plow the road in the wintertime. They only plow the road to where you're still like 3 miles away from where this trailhead is. So you would have a lot more hiking to do, but it would still be a cool one to do in the winter. So there's Horseshoe there, and there's Peerless over there. And I know that it doesn't look that different in terms of how tall they are, but Peerless is about 550 feet shorter than Horseshoe is. Like I said, Horseshoe is only about 100 feet away from being a 14er. And Peerless is 13,348. Listen to that. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the video. Hopefully you can. There's elks. There's some elk making some noise down there. This area here, the Fairplay area, has a lot of elk. It's well known for having a very large elk population. And it's funny because now I got a story to tell my roommate, because my roommate's out hunting really far north of here in a town called Kremling in northern Colorado. And he's out doing some elk and deer hunting. And I don't know if he's going to get anything or not, but I'll tell you right now, this would have been the place to be, because the elk are very active out here. It's always a cool thing to hear. Elk makes such a cool noise. Alright, so I'm getting close to the base of both Peerless and Horseshoe. And it's kind of tough to tell from here, but basically the mining road just kind of goes up that way, and then it'll do some switchbacks up there, and then eventually end up right below the summit of Peerless, and then it'll cut to the left, and then you'll get up onto the saddle, and the lowest point up on the saddle there is I believe the lowest point there is about 13.2. So far this trail has been really mellow. A very mellow class 1 hike on this mining road. It is pretty rocky, but you know, it's not bad at all. Once I start doing those switchbacks though, it's definitely going to get a little steeper. And then I think climbing up the saddle towards Horseshoe is definitely going to be the toughest part. So there's a lot of old mining stuff up here. The Mosquito Range is famous for that. There's definitely a lot of that, a lot of mining history out here in the Mosquito Range. If you look up there, you can still see the summit of Horseshoe, and the summit of Peerless is out of view now. And I'm still on the mining road at about 12,600 feet. It is starting to get steeper, doing some switchbacks, but it's still not too bad. Still class 1 and definitely a lot more gradual than your typical 13er or 14er hike. I'll tell you, the last 13er I did West Spanish Peak, even though the first 2 miles were pretty flat, that last mile was a killer. And I mean, there's nothing like this. Very different experience. But either way, it's very beautiful out here. And very quiet. Once again, other than that one person I saw towards the beginning, I haven't seen any other people so far on the hike. So it's been very quiet. And it's just sometimes really nice to enjoy that, because you don't get this too often. Well, this is really cool. A mine shaft right here on the side of the trail. Really awesome. If you're into history and like the gold rush and stuff like that, a lot of these hikes up here in the Mosquitoes are a great way to check out some of Colorado's history. Because Mount Sherman is very similar to this in the sense that You see a lot of old mining buildings and mining equipment. It's kind of just scattered all along the trail. And it's pretty cool to look at. Because you already got the beautiful scenery out here to look at, but all this old mining stuff and the history of it just kind of adds to the enjoyment of the hike. Really cool stuff. This looks like maybe it was like an old train car or something. I don't know. Interesting. All right, so I'm at about 12,850 feet right now, which means I'm about 350 feet off of the saddle. And as you can see, I'm starting to get some great views of the front range, even though it is a little hazy from, of course, what else but wildfire smoke. Not so much from Colorado, but if you watch my Grays and Tories video, I said that it's mostly from the fires in California and Montana. Smoke really does travel very far, and so those fires are definitely affecting the air quality and visibility out here in the mountains here in Colorado. But if you look over there, it's a little hazy, so it's hard to see, but right over there is Pikes Peak. You can barely see it through the haze right now, so I'm honestly not sure if I'll even have views of it on the summit. But either way, it's beautiful, and I'm still continuing on the switchbacks up this old mining road on my way. And as you can see, some of these little alpine plants are starting to change their colors, which means that it is starting to be fall time, starting to get to the time where the seasons are changing up here. Of course, down at the lower altitudes, it's still summer, but up here, it's starting to be more like fall. And there's Peerless Mountain up there, and Horseshoe over there. Right, so I made it up to the saddle at 13,200 feet. And if you look there, that's Peerless Mountain right there. So that's actually I'm really not too far off the summit of Peerless right now. And then if you look over there, that's Mount Sheridan, another 13er here in the Mosquito Range. And then right up there is my first destination, Horseshoe Mountain. It's about another 700 feet of gain from here to get to the summit. And it basically just kind of, you go up there and then there's just kind of like a loose class 2 trail that you follow up to the summit. And it's a very large summit, so I'm not really sure if you can quite see the highest point from here, but basically it's just kind of a large U-shaped summit, hence why they call it Horseshoe Mountain. But the views up here on the saddle are incredible. Getting a perfect view right down there to Leadville, the highest town in the state of Colorado. It's 10,200 feet. And then all of those mountains over there are part of the Sawatch Range. Lots of 14ers in that range over there. Very cool. And Peerless Mountain is blocking the view of Sherman. I'm actually not even sure if you'll be able to see Sherman from the top of Horseshoe. You might be able to, but I'm not positive. But you definitely will get excellent views of Sherman on top of Peerless. But it looks like the top of Horseshoe is going to have some amazing views, because the views of the Sawatch Range are going to be incredible. And then of course over in that direction is the Front Range. So I'm gonna keep going. As of right now, it's not too windy up here on the saddle. Of course, that could change at any moment, but it is chilly. It's about 40 degrees, so it's still pretty chilly. It's not really going to get that warm today. I think it's only supposed to go up to the high 40s up on the summit today. But if the wind could just stay like it is now, that would be great. All right, so I've been hiking up the saddle. That is the summit up there. Up there, kind of where the highest point is. And this is what the trail looks like here. It's pretty much just all scree and loose rock. It's definitely turned into a class 2. But I'm at 13,500 feet right now. So I got about 400 vertical feet left to get to the summit. And the views are amazing. As you can see, getting a great view right over there to Mount Elbert and Mount Massive, the 2 tallest mountains in the state. Getting an excellent view of 13er Mount Sheridan, and of course Mount Sherman over there. And I'm pretty sure that is Holy Cross, Mount of the Holy Cross over there. Beautiful. So I'm on the final push to the summit right now. It's about another 150 vertical feet from here, which isn't a lot, but distance-wise it's a little further. So basically it's going to be a steep trail up until that you get over this little hump up there, and then from there it's kind of going to be just a mellow walk along the ridge, because pretty much all of that is like the summit. But over there, that little flat section where it plateaus, that's the like highest point. Like technically that little hump right there, that's the highest point. I'm assuming that's where the geological marker would be. But as far as elevation gain goes, not much of that left. I'm at 13,700 feet right now, or 13,750. So, like I said, about another 150 feet to get to the summit. And of course up here, as is typical in the Mosquito Range, lots of scree, lots of loose rock. And you can see a couple of other people with their dogs up there. That would make a total of 3 people I've seen so far today on the trail. And I can see a very large portion of the trail from up here, and I don't see anybody else coming up. So this mountain does not get a lot of traffic. It's very quiet up here. All right, I'll see you guys up at the summit. All right, guys, I made it to the summit of Horseshoe Mountain, 13,898 feet. The 19th tallest 13er in the state of Colorado, and the 72nd tallest mountain, period, in the state of Colorado. And oh my God, is it incredible up here. So this is the official highest point where this rock cairn is, but this is a pretty wide, flat summit up here. There's actually another rock cairn all the way down there, kind of marking where, you know, where the summit starts and where it ends. So it's a nice big summit, and it is absolutely incredible. Look at these views. And guess what? I'm the only one up here. Saturday morning, on a Saturday in August, and I'm the only one on top of a summit that falls literally just 102 feet shy of being a 14er. Pretty incredible. So, I got lots of things to point out for you guys. So, let me start over here looking west. You can see Leadville is down there. Way over there in the distance, that is Mount of the Holy Cross. Right over there, Mount Massive. Just to the left of that, front and center, that is Mount Elbert, the tallest in the state. Looking a little further south, that is Mount Belford. Next to that, Mount Harvard. And if you look over there, you can barely see it, but La Plata Peak is just barely peeking out from behind the ridge next to Mount Elbert. To the left of Mount Harvard is Mount Yale. Way over there, Mount Princeton. And next to that, Mount Antero. Lots of 14ers in the Sawatch Range. You can see those lakes down there. That is Twin Lakes. Independence Pass is up there, and you can barely make out. It's really hard to see, but way off in the distance are the Maroon Bells. Now turning in this direction, straight ahead of you there is Mount Sheridan, another 13er here in the Mosquito Range. Just to the right of that, Mount Sherman. Behind Mount Sherman is the DeCalibron Loop. There's Pennsylvania Mountain, and then behind that, Democrat, Cameron, Lincoln, and Bross. You can't really see the full thing, but you can see Lincoln for sure, Lincoln and Cameron, and I think that might be Democrat over there. Way further out, kind of in the haze a little bit, Quandary Peak. And now looking east towards the Front Range, and you can see just barely, and I mean just barely, it's very hazy in that direction. Pikes Peak is over there. And then if you look, let me see here. Over there, Grays and Tories, just did those. And I don't think you can see any other 14ers in the Front Range. But wow, what an amazing view from up here. Let me take you closer to the edge. You can see those little alpine lakes. I wouldn't even really call them lakes, they're more like ponds. And then this beautiful horseshoe cirque below the mountain. And you can pretty much see most of the trail going back down. That's all that mining road that I hiked up. And it goes around that corner, goes back down into the trees, and then you can also see 4 Mile Creek Road down there, winding its way back down towards Fairplay, which is right over there, the town of Fairplay. And that big valley out there is known as the South Park Valley. For those of you who are wondering, yes, that is what the show was named after. And if you want to, you can go into Fairplay, and they have some interesting little touristy things you can do there that, you know, it's kind of like you're in the town of South Park from the cartoon, but not really. Absolutely incredible. So if you look down there, it looks like someone drove all the way up to that point, and there's someone all the way down there. It looks like they might be trying to make their way up here, but they won't be here for a very, very long time. I can guarantee you that. But wow, these views are absolutely incredible. This is what you get when you hike a 13er. Amazing views, no other people, and like I said, this is a really tall 13er. It's at 13,898. That's 102 feet shy of being a 14er. I mean, literally, right over there, Mount Sherman, that mountain is only about 150 feet, not even quite that, like 140 feet taller than where I'm standing right now. And I guarantee you there's probably 20 plus people up on that summit right now. And up here, no one. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start heading back down. But this is just incredible. I know I've recorded a lot of video up here at the summit, but it's just too amazing not to. This is one of my favorite summits that I've ever done. Alright, so I'm back down towards the bottom of the saddle between Peerless and Horseshoe. And I decided not to do Peerless today because I did spend quite a bit of time up at the summit of Horseshoe, and you can see the clouds are rolling in. It looks like there's definitely going to be some bad weather headed this way in the next hour or two. So I don't really have time to summit Peerless today, but it's okay, because I mean, Horseshoe was incredible, and it was I mean, in my opinion, one of the best summits I've been to. So I'm okay with not doing Peerless, because I can, just by looking at it, I can tell that the views aren't going to be quite as good as up there as they were on Horseshoe. So I'm just going to hike back down. All right, so I'm back down where all this old mining ruins is, and that means I'm at 12,600 feet. So I got about another 1,000 feet of elevation to go down to get back to the trailhead. Alright guys, so I'm back down at about 12,000 feet, which means I got about 400 feet to go before getting back to where the trailhead is. I already passed the upper four-wheel drive trailhead, so I'm just making my way down to the to where this road intersects with 4 Mile Creek Road. And on the way down, I did slip on some loose rock, and I cut my hand, actually. Not bad, like it doesn't need stitches, but it's, you know, a nice little cut. And really the biggest problem was just that it was bleeding a lot. So, like the genius I am, I forgot to bring my first aid kit with me on the hike, and it's in the car. So I kind of just had to make do with what I had, which was some water, a couple paper towels, and some paracord. So I ended up just cleaning it out with some water, and used one of the paper towels to dry it up, and then used the other paper towel to wrap around it, and then tie some paracord around that. And it's totally fine for now. Honestly, having those items definitely saved me from having a miserable hike back down where I was just bleeding all over the place. You know, that would have sucked. So at least I had something to you know, wrap around it, clean it out, and stop the bleeding. But, you know, lesson learned, always bring your first aid kit. Don't get complacent. Anything can happen up here. Alright, what's up everyone? So I just finished up with the hike, and back in Fairplay, about to get some food and then head home. It was an awesome hike, one of my favorite summits I've ever done. Great having the summit to myself and all the cool views up there. And just for perspective, there's Horseshoe Mountain over there, and then right next to it, Mount Sherman. So back in there is the area I was hiking in. Really cool. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and definitely subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out when you do that. And I'll see you guys soon for another video. I got more coming up soon.